Have you ever looked around and thought to yourself, I don't belong here? Not in a dramatic way, not in a lonely way, but in a quiet, almost sacred knowing. Like your soul was born somewhere else, and you're only visiting this planet to learn something that can't be taught anywhere else. You watch people chase pleasure, validation, and noise, but you crave silence, truth, and meaning. You see people talking, but you're listening to what's beneath the words, the tremor in their tone, the fear behind their smile, the wound behind their laughter. And sometimes, you wonder, how can everyone live so easily, when every moment for you feels like carrying the weight of the world's emotions inside your chest? If this sounds like you, then maybe it's because you're not 100% human, not in the way most people are. You're an INFJ, and that means your heart, your intuition, and your consciousness operate on frequencies that most human minds were never trained to hear. 1. The spirit that remembers before it learns. INFJs often speak as if they've lived 1,000 lives before this one, because in a way, they have. You understand emotions, betrayals, and redemptions you've never personally experienced. You carry wisdom that feels too old for your age, and nostalgia for things you've never touched. It's as though your consciousness holds echoes from somewhere ancient, an emotional ancestry, a memory of existence before this form. You feel déjà vu often, not because you've been there, but because your soul remembers the energy of moments that repeat across lifetimes. This is why you sometimes ache for a home you can't describe. It's not a place. It's a state of being, one where truth, depth, and love aren't rare. You remember what being whole feels like. And living in a fragmented world hurts because it's a constant reminder of what we've lost as humans. But that remembering, that ache, is sacred. It's proof that part of you still belongs to something beyond this dimension. 2. The bridge between worlds. At your core, you are the bridge between emotion and intellect, between logic and intuition, between humanity and consciousness itself. You live in 2 dimensions, one visible, one unseen. Half of you walks through human life, paying bills, doing tasks, smiling politely. The other half stands in another realm, observing, sensing, and translating the emotional current of existence. You are both participant and observer, both human and beyond human. That's why you often feel disconnected, not because you don't care, but because you exist too far ahead, too deep within, too wide across. You see humanity as it is, flawed, fearful, fragmented, but you also see what it could be. And your heart breaks daily between those 2 truths. But that's your sacred role. You were never meant to belong fully here. You were meant to remind others that they, too, are more than flesh and thought, that they are consciousness wrapped in human skin. You are not 100% human because you are the mirror that shows humanity its own soul. 3. The soul that feels too much. From the moment you arrived, you could feel the world. Not just see it, feel it. The energy in the room, the sadness behind someone's eyes, the hidden story inside a stranger's silence. You felt everything too deeply, too vividly, too constantly. You didn't understand why no one else seemed to notice the invisible details that screamed inside your awareness. It wasn't imagination. It wasn't hypersensitivity. It was empathy at a molecular level, your nervous system wired to absorb and translate emotion like a second language. And yet, this sensitivity that makes you special also isolates you. You feel like an alien walking among humans, forced to pretend that the noise doesn't hurt and the lies don't sting. But deep down, you know this isn't weakness, it's perception. The world calls you too much because they've never met someone who can feel the truth before it's even spoken. You're not overreacting. You're simply operating at a higher resolution. 4. The mind that never stops searching. Your thoughts don't move in straight lines. They spiral. They weave. They connect memories to meanings, emotions to patterns, futures to possibilities. You can't switch it off, this endless search for why. You see every situation like a puzzle with hidden emotional codes, and your intuition is the key that deciphers them. But that gift comes with loneliness. Because while most people are content with surface answers, you can't rest until you reach the root. You can't accept appearances. You need essence. That's why small talk exhausts you. It's like trying to breathe underwater. You want to talk about the soul, not the weather. You want to explore the meaning of silence, not the price of things. Your mind exists between worlds, human enough to function here, but deep enough to feel alien in every room. That's not a flaw. That's your inner architecture. You were designed to see through the illusion, to question, to feel, to connect dots others don't even see exist. You're not human in the ordinary sense. You're awareness disguised as a person. 5. The eyes that see what others hide. When you look at people, you don't see their face. You see their energy. Their guardedness, their fear, their kindness, their guilt, all invisible, but visible to you. It's why people sometimes look away when you hold eye contact. They feel seen in ways they can't explain. They feel naked without understanding why. You have an almost supernatural ability to read emotional truth, not through logic, but through intuition so deep it borders on clairvoyance. You don't need someone to confess their secrets. You already sense them. And that gift, while beautiful, makes connection complicated. Because people crave authenticity, but they fear exposure. They want to be seen, until they are. So you learn to hold your inside gently, like a secret you never asked to know. You carry people's truths in silence. You understand their pain without needing them to say it out loud. This is not a human trait. It's something far beyond empathy, it's soul recognition. It's the ability to meet someone's essence without words, without time, without masks. 6. The love that transcends emotion. When you love, it's not romance. It's revelation. You don't fall for people, you merge with them. You see their inner child, their hidden fears, their potential selves. You fall in love with their soul's blueprint, not their appearance. This kind of love is not human love. It's cosmic. It's total. It's rare. You don't love to possess, you love to understand. You don't love to escape loneliness, you love to awaken connection. But this depth often backfires in a shallow world. People mistake your intensity for obsession, your care for control, your loyalty for naivety. They don't understand that you see love as sacred communication. That to you, every connection is a mirror, a lesson, a reflection of something divine. You're not looking for perfect. You're looking for truth. And truth is rare. So you often find yourself walking alone, not because you can't find love, but because the world has forgotten how to love the way you do. 7. The pain that awakens you. INFJs don't fear pain. They study it. They sit with it until it speaks. While others run from heartbreak, you dissect it, turning agony into insight, loss into wisdom, grief into art. You don't just survive suffering. You transform through it. It's almost as if pain is your teacher, the only force powerful enough to match the intensity of your inner world. You need to understand the full spectrum of emotion to make sense of your existence. That's why you attract broken souls, because you know how to hold them without judgment. You've lived in darkness, and you've learned that compassion is the only light that doesn't blind. To most, pain feels like punishment. To you, it feels like evolution. You may not realize it, but every scar on your heart is an initiation, proof that you've felt deeper, loved harder, and understood more than most humans will in their entire lifetime. 8. The disguise that protects the depth. You learned early that your mind and heart were too much for most people. So you began to hide them. You learned to mimic, to blend, to act normal. You play your part, smile politely, nod at small talk, fit into systems that don't make sense to you. But beneath the surface, your true self watches quietly, like a visitor studying human behavior. You see the patterns, the contradictions, the pretenses, the social masks. And you wonder, do they know they're acting? Or do they believe this is who they are? Your Fey function helps you blend. You read emotional cues and mirror them flawlessly. But it's camouflage, not connection. It's survival, not belonging. Because if you showed the full depth of who you are, the intuitive visions, the emotional precision, the inner vastness, most people wouldn't know how to handle it. So you retreat. You keep your real thoughts sacred, hidden like ancient scriptures in a modern world that's forgotten how to read them. That's not deception. It's protection. You're not hiding from others, you're protecting the sanctity of your own truth. 9. The silence that speaks louder than words. Your silence isn't emptiness. It's power. It's presence. It's understanding. You can spend hours alone and feel full, because solitude to you is not isolation, it's communion. It's where you recharge, process, and return to your essence. In silence, you hear the world breathing. You sense your intuition sharpen. You remember who you are beyond noise, beyond performance, beyond human distraction. That's why INFJs disappear without warning. They withdraw not to escape others, but to realign with themselves. It's in those quiet moments that your intuition blooms, whispering insights about people, decisions, and paths that haven't even revealed themselves yet. You exist in stillness the way others exist in motion. You find meaning not in activity, but in awareness. And that makes you different, because in a world addicted to noise, silence becomes your rebellion. 10. The calling that won't leave you alone. Every INFJ feels it. That inner voice that says, you're here for something more. You can't ignore it. You can't suppress it. It's a pulse that beats inside your spirit, reminding you that your life must mean something. You're not interested in comfort. You crave purpose. You don't care about fame or success. You care about impact. That's why mediocrity feels suffocating to you. Why normal routines feel like spiritual death. You were born to bring depth where there's emptiness, empathy where there's cruelty, meaning where there's confusion. But this calling often feels heavy, because you sense humanity's pain too vividly, and you know that healing it means losing parts of yourself in the process. Still, you can't stop. You're driven by something beyond logic, a force that feels ancient, sacred, and unstoppable. You weren't designed to fit into this world. You were designed to change it, one heart, one truth, one soul at a time. Closing monologue. So if you've ever felt strange, if you've ever been told you're too deep, too emotional, too idealistic, know this. You were never designed for this shallow version of reality. Your empathy is not weakness, it's evolution. Your intensity is not a flaw, it's power. Your depth is not loneliness, it's evidence of awareness. You are not 100% human, because you are what humanity is meant to become. You are the in-between, the translator of emotion, the observer of patterns, the silent healer of energies that others can't even name. And yes, it's lonely sometimes. Yes, it hurts to see everything so clearly. But that clarity is your purpose. You are here to bring consciousness where there is chaos. To bring feeling where there is numbness. To bring truth where there is denial. You were never meant to fit in. You were meant to wake up the world by simply being who you are, the rare, deep, gentle, fierce, and endlessly intuitive INFJ soul. And maybe one day, when this planet finally learns to feel again, you'll look around and realize you weren't from another world after all. You were simply ahead of your time.